Hey, how's it going, friends? Welcome. Bonjour tout le monde, as it says down below. Welcome to episode 6 of History of the Piano. Today, I am your host, dressed in the appropriate attire to celebrate none other than our celebrity for today. I don't need any more time to explain. His name is J.S. Bach. And there he is. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. We have a lot of special guests, people that I'm excited to be sharing music throughout the week. They've been sending me some videos. This is a Professor who's going to be telling you a little bit more about Bach. So we're going to cut this in different sections so we can enjoy it. As you can see, I got his zodiac sign. He's an Aries. And there's definitely a lot of fire and passion and devotion to Bach, as we'll see in his life and everything he's done. So anyway, thank you for joining. We're trying to do the live on YouTube and on Facebook at the same time. I hope it works. I'll check in the comments. If you got a comment, leave a comment in the comment, and maybe I'll comment on your comment depending on how it goes. So let's start with, first of all, thank you all for being here. And let's start with a classic. I think every piano player has played this song, this composition by Bach, entitled Prelude No. 1 in C major. I hope you enjoy. It's in C. So that's why I put a C sharp with a question mark, because I played it in different keys. Quick little shout out to this cup, and another shout out to Lizzie over there, always helping me with everything, and Clofer. Okay, so let's get with some facts. Let's talk about legacy. What? Oh wait, well, yeah, there you go. He's from Germany, from the town of Eisenach, right? A lovely place. I've never been. I wonder how they're doing today in the coronavirus. I'm sure they're figuring it out just like we all are. We're sending our love. And as I was saying, Bach legacy. So he actually has left a huge mark on music. And first of all, let's start with his family. This is Bach's family tree. As you can see, he had so many kids. And remember, I was saying Aries, fire. He definitely had a lot of passion with, I think he had 2 wives and I think almost a total of 20 kids. And that passion wasn't just with his life, with his family, but also with his music. He's composed so much music, huge choral pieces, ensemble work, piano works, etc. So let's just remember, and Liz is laughing, but it's true. Obviously, this dude was super committed to everything he was doing. There's actually interesting comments from Luke Jones later on who will accentuate this point. Now, interesting about his life is that he didn't travel much. As you can see from this map, even though it doesn't show you Germany, all those towns are in Germany. He stayed within the small part of the country, seeing as people like Mozart were traveling all over Europe. That being said, in his compositions, he was still using different styles from different places. So he was using the style of the English style with his English suite, English, and also French suite, Français, and Italiano suites, Italiano, right? So he, even though he was in a small part of his surroundings were small, he still was a sponge in the sense that he would take in a lot of the influence around him. Fascinating. Here he is looking slick with the sunglasses and a leather coat. And here he is also looking slick with also another leather coat. Did you know that Bach is also a meme sensation? And I looking at pictures of Bach, he's all over the place. I also found this one. Him playing a 6-string electric bass. I don't know many people who can play that. I believe that if Bach did play it, he would probably sound super nice. But it's no joke, because people were influenced in the rock era as well. See, we're going to talk about jazz and rock and further classical influence, and took his pieces and incorporated it in their music. You see, Bach's music is very rhythmical. The Baroque era has got such a pop to it, definitely compared to the drone music that was coming out even in the medieval era. There's a certain rhythm to it that is really appeasing and fun. Now, I'm talking about the rhythm here, but let's talk about something else. This composition style. And before we can really get into the composition style, let's really talk about what music was at that time. And I'm going to talk about something called equal temperament, right? So it's kind of difficult to explain. So first I'm going to really quickly read you a little quote about what equal temperament is all about. I have it here in my old iPhone. Here we go. We'll do a little waiting music while I find it. Here we go. Maybe I'll read it while playing the piano. Okay, here we go. Temperature. Well, temperament means a mathematical, acoustic, and musical practical organization in the tone system within the 12 steps of an octave, with the goal of impeccable performance in all tonalities, based on the natural harmonic system, i.e. extended just intonation. While striving to keep the diatonic intervals as pure as possible, the temperament acts while tiled, given pitch ratios, as a thriftily tempered smoothing and extension of the mean tone, as unequally beating half tones and as equally beating temperament. Let me just explain what that means. We have 12 keys. C, D flat D, E flat E, F, F sharp G, A flat A, B flat B, C, right? And within each of these keys, you have a major and a minor scale, right? It wasn't like that before, because before, as you can see, you had the Pythagorean version, and you didn't have this system where everything was fit perfectly into a grid, which means you couldn't transpose easily into 12 other keys, right? You know what I'm saying? Which means also it would, before you also had, the fifth was a little different. It was a little shorter. The third was a little shorter, which sounded really amazing. I mean, I'm sure you listen to a lot of even the medieval music, or if you check out any of the past episodes, you hear that the fifth, which is this, is just a little bit different. You know, bad example. Anyway, there's two arguments to this. One, it's cool because now everything is very gridded and very, as we know they like to do in Europe. It's, we have to package it and it's, right? But some people say it was ruined. Some people say it limited music, and people oppose that, including in Europe. People like Schoenberg try to go beyond just these rules. So there's something about Bach music that is also really, paying attention to the rules. It's all about the rules. And if you listen to Monk music, Thelonious Monk, amazing piano player, he says there are more than 12 keys. And I personally agree. There's everything in between. But this type of composition, when he was writing, he was really into this. And this is really important because he would come up with these books. So you have 12 prelude and fugues, the well-tempered clavier, hence equal temperament. You have a song, a fugue, and a prelude in each key, in minor and in major. It's a really awesome way of categorizing and putting your music together. It was really inspirational. If you check out Chopin, or if you check out Beethoven, or any of these composers that came after him, they were inspired by Bach's way of putting his music together. As am I. I'm currently trying to write my prelude and fugues. It's taken a while, but maybe in a few years, 2 years, we'll have something. So that's something interesting. He had so much style, not just in how he wrote, but how he put things together, right? So the first thing I played here, that was a prelude, yeah? Right? And now I'm going to play to you guys a fugue. Now, what is a fugue? A fugue is like a musical mission. And if you're Bach, it's also a musical mission to mess with the performer's brain as much as possible. But it's also beautiful, right? Let's say that a fugue is a painting where you're using themes over and over again as many times as possible, and they work intricately together to make something beautiful. So I'm going to play a fugue. And before I play this fugue, there are different things that you can do just to add to Bach's genius. There's this thing called musical cryptograms, where he would use the theme of his own name. So his name is Bach, so B flat, A, C, and H, which is also a B natural. So he would include his name in his fugues and mess around with it, do all kinds of stuff, flip it around, flip flop, flippity wop, and it was awesome, right? So I'm gonna play one of his fugues. It's called the C sharp minor fugue, and I'm gonna just show you right now a few of the themes that are in the piece. And when I play it, I would like for you to listen and see when they come in. Sometimes they come in at the bottom of the piano, the top, the middle. So the first one is, right? It comes all over the piece. Another one is, Lizzie loves this one. Yeah. And then another one is this one. It could go on forever, and it sounds like it does. Now, when I play this piece, try and check it out. See if you can hear those moments. Now, I've been trying to learn this piece by ear, and honestly, I've been learning it by ear for over 2 years now, so let's see how it goes. I'll try and, at the end of the piece, play with those and kind of do my own version of a fugue. It won't be perfect because I'm not writing it over years and years, but so you can get the gist of what a fugue is like. It's hard, and that's why we're going to deal with it. Theme 1. Here we go now. It's pretty cool. It's difficult to play. So if I made any mistakes for the purists out there, I'm apologizing. But at the end of the day, I do like to think that Bach was an improviser, and he did try to do this stuff on the spot all the time. He was definitely trying to have some fun. So indeed, that was a textural piece. So as you can see, his music is interpretable in so many ways. There's style, there's the particular kind of melodies, there is the thematic work, there is the fun. It can get really serious, he writes all these emotions. And one of the things I enjoy doing is mixing influences of different composers with each other. So, like a milkshake, I want to propose a milkshake to you guys. It's going to incorporate Maurice White, a huge influence to me. He's playing the kalimba there. And the reason why I want to use Maurice White is because a lot of his music uses a concept that Bach was totally opposed to, and it's this one. Open fifths, moving parallel fifths. As my teacher will tell you later on, if you use this or octaves in your work, it's forbidden, right? But we're gonna leave that behind and we're gonna use it. That being said, we're still gonna use Bach's influence of using these pieces coming together of harmony, the concept of Bach in terms of the textural, thematic concept of different parts moving in and against each other with the harmony of Maurice White and Earth, Wind, and Fire. And it sounds pretty interesting. I'll play really quickly. All right, so it's time to rock with Bach. I'm gonna show you a little clip now, and I don't want you to mistake this with rocking, jamming with Herbie. I'm literally just doing a shameless plug. I love this record. Go check it out. There is a track on there called "Rock Your Body," and he sounds so good. Anyway, I want you to enjoy this little clip of this group called Sky playing Bach's Toccata. Now, before we do that, I just want to also acknowledge that Bach's serious organ music has been an inspiration for many serious moments in music, including "Do You Fear Death?" Davy Jones plays the organ. I'm sure there was a lot of inspiration for him from Bach when he's playing for his lovely puppet. All right, enjoy this performance.
Just sent me this solar wireless battery pack. I'm excited. Let's see what's inside. I really like the build. It's got hand grips on the...
There I am right there. So the end right there, you heard. So it's, for me, that's kind of anticlimactic. I feel like every time I hear a theme by Bach, even if it's in minor, ends with, right? And that's called a tierce de Picardy. That's when the whole piece is in minor and ends in major for that uplift. And I used to mistake this with tierce de Piccadilly. Piccadilly, which is a train station, Manchester Piccadilly in Manchester, obviously. And it's not. But my teacher always just say, no, it's not Piccadilly, it's Piccadilly. And the reason why I like to mention Piccadilly is because I used to go to school at this place called Cheetham School of Music. And at Cheetham School of Music, I learned a lot of interesting things. And I met many amazing people, including the first guest of the show. His name is Luke Jones. He was my first roommate when I was there. I went there. It's a boarding school for music when I was 11. And I've noticed Dan Marks said hello on the comments. What's up, Dan? And I made so many great friends there. And Luke was basically the first person I met. I met him on the piano course before the school actually started. And I called him. I was like, listen, you wanna play a little piece? So he's gonna play a piece, another prelude by Bach in G major. But I know that this is Gurmi's birthday, so we're gonna give a special shout out to Gurmi. And it's her birthday, and we love her very much. So here's a bit of Luke Jones to everyone. He's an incredible pianist. I hope you enjoy.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. I'm going to play for you Bach's Prelude and Fugue in G major from the second book of Well-Tempered Clavier. I really like this piece because it's one of the first pieces I played. I played it when I was 9 years old for the first time, so I've been playing it for a very long time. And it's sort of got a nice light pastoral colour. It's just very light and bouncy. It's just fun to play, very relaxing. So the reason I really like Bach personally is that when I'm listening to Bach, I feel like I'm looking through a telescope and a microscope at the same time. You know, you get this feeling of the macroscopic and the microscopic, if that makes sense. You can kind of view the work on multiple levels. You know, sometimes people think that Bach's quite sort of formal, and in some ways he is, but there's an awful lot of intimacy in his music, and a lot of sort of emotional input. I mean, the guy had 20 kids, he was a dedicated father, and he composed a great deal for the church, and so, you know, he was a committed, dedicated man with a lot of feelings himself, and a man of great culture. I mean, if you ever read his letters, then you see this, so hope you enjoy the piece.
I hope you enjoyed Luke right there. He's I always enjoy seeing different people's hands while they play. Uh, Luke he's got some cool hands to watch. Nice aerial shot, Luke. Thank you. Anyway, let's remain at Chet's at one Millgate, I think it's called 1 Millgate Avenue. That's where Chet's is in Manchester. I know I was just reading some comments. I see Jabril's watching. Hugo, how's it going, man? Feel free to comment on either Facebook or on YouTube if you have any questions. So we're going to stay at Chet's, and I'm going to introduce you to one of my old teachers. Old as in he used to be my teacher, but he's still my teacher because of this video he sent me is so awesome. And his name is Dr. Sam King. So he has led me through my GCSE and my A levels of music. So that's all things music, history, theory. And I called him up and I said, listen, I'm doing this thing about Bach. It would be great to have a doctor actually share some things. And what he gave me back is a pure gem. And he really goes in and talks about chorale and Bach's vocal work. I spoke a lot about the piano, this being a show about the piano. So I hope that you really get a taste of just the depth of this man's knowledge and just how awesome this piece of information he has to share with you. I hope you enjoy.
Hi there, everybody. Mathis has asked me to help him make a program about Bach. Well, I'm highly honored. I should explain that I used to teach Mathis many years ago, when between the ages of about 12 and 16, when he was at music school in Manchester in the UK. So I got this phone call, and eventually he says to me, well, do you think you could maybe talk about Bach and why he's such a great composer? That's a massive task. Thank you very much, Mathis. And I've realized that everybody really tunes into this program to hear Mathis playing the piano and telling stories. So I'm going to try and keep it really brief and succinct. So why is Bach so great? Well, I think it comes down to technique. Fundamentally, he is like the composer's composer. He's somebody that produced work using a musical technique, compositional skills that went far beyond what anybody else had been able to think of. So that's what I mean by transcendent, reaching above. When people talk about technique, they're talking about performers, aren't they? They're talking about maybe a pianist like Liszt or a violinist like Paganini, or in the jazz world, your Louis Armstrongs, your Charlie Parkers, your Art Tatums, people whose technique takes things to another level. Bach's compositional technique takes things to another level. For example, you might find him writing a piece where there's two voices, and it turns out that one of them is actually the same as the other one, but played in reverse. That's a kind of clever little trick that he could do. Or there might be two parts, and one of them is actually the same as the other one, but moving at double the speed. Well, all those things are very clever intellectual constructions, but they wouldn't mean anything if there wasn't some emotional depth. And Bach is one of those composers who is absolutely profound in what he can tell us about life. I'm going to just share one little piece with you to try and encapsulate what I think about Bach's greatness. So just bear with me while I bring this piece up on the screen for you. And this piece is, first of all, I'm just going to simply show you the tune. Okay, this is a chorale tune. For Bach, it would be a hymn, okay? And that's repeated. Okay, pretty simple. nothing particularly special about it. The rhythms are very straightforward, aren't they? The notes tend to move up and down just by step. There's nothing very elaborate. It's got a very small range. It's only about an octave. And actually, this tune is not even by Bach. It's part of a kind of tradition that he inherited. So this is a melody that was written a little while before Bach was born, and it's part of the whole Lutheran German church tradition that Bach was born into. So the church is a really important part of Bach's whole life and way of thinking. He worked for most of his life as a church musician, and actually his religion was very important to him. I mean, he really had some difficult things to deal with in his own life, and his religion must have been a consolation. Both parents died when he was very young, not even 10 years old. And he was married twice. His first wife died. They had 20 children between them, and many of those died. So he was in need of a lot of consolation, and you certainly get that with Bach. This tune, it is used by Bach in a telling of the Christmas story. And the words translated into English begin with, "Break forth, O lovely morning light, and let the heavens dawn." And it's then goes on to give you a little sort of resume of the way the angels speak to the shepherds, talking about this great light being born into the world that's going to save us all from Satan. So the text has great power to it, and Bach's setting of it has great power too. And the setting is amazing. I've said that this tune is not by Bach. You need to know that in Bach's day, these tunes, which date all the way back to the time of Martin Luther in some cases, they were almost like the Baroque composer's version of a jazz reel book. They were like a shared resource of melodies. So every time you come to this melody, you can set it in your own way. Now, if I were a not very imaginative composer, I could just harmonize the first bit like this. But the secret of Bach is the richness and the complexity that he puts into his writing. Now, just to show you what I mean by that, I'm going to show you a little tiny diagram. It's a little bit childish, I apologize, but this is a sort of representation of the way the chords and the individual parts work. So the red dots, these could be representing the tune that I played you, okay? The yellow dots would be the alto part, the voice one step down from the soprano. The green dots would be the tenor, and the blue dots would be the bass part. So soprano red, alto yellow, tenor green, and bass in blue. So obviously Bach is a great master of harmony and making the chords work. But also he's a great master of voice leading. So the progress of this string of yellow dots and the string of green dots and the bass line, the string of blue dots, is also really interesting. It's patterned, it's full of nuance and detail. And the bass lines especially are just incredible and a real influence on all sorts of composers who came after him. So I'm going to go back to the chorale tune, and I'm going to reveal now the rest of the voices that Bach puts in. So these are Bach's alto, tenor, and bass parts used to harmonize the tune that he inherited from a previous generation. Okay, I'm going to play this for you. Okay, every time I play that simple little melody in Bach's harmonization, I'm always just blown away by how powerful it is, even within just a very, very small, a tiny piece, really, less than it's only about a minute long, isn't it? Okay, so some things for me to pick out for you. Let's start with the bass part. Okay, at the beginning, it's a fairly straightforward shape, but notice how you've got a sense of repetition of rhythm. Da-da-dum-dum-dum. Da-da-dum-dum-dum. That kind of simple patterning of the music is one of the things that gives Bach's music its power and its complexity. There's a little motif in the bass that I'm going to highlight here for you, these three notes. Okay. And that is just a turning upside down of something you get in the melody. Yeah, here. And if you look at some of the other parts, well, that whole first phrase is full of repetitions of that. So it's here in the alto. I'm going to highlight that for us now. Okay. And then we can see it again in the bass here. And again in the alto here. So there's a kind of interweaving of this. If I just play the bass and the alto. And that's just one phrase. Okay, and in the next phrase, I originally gave you a very boring version of this, just going. But Bach doesn't do that. He gives us a little twist that seems to take us into a different key very briefly before he comes back out of that. And look how amazing the bass part is. These bold leaps up an octave here. And then back down again. And on the way within that phrase, we get some really daring bits of harmony. So if I just stop on some of those, this sound, quite a rich discordant sound. This one with the major seventh, and then minor seventh followed by, those two parts don't seem to fit with each other. This kind of daring approach to voice leading is one of the things I think that is a hallmark of Bach's style and makes the harmony so rich. Okay, two more little bits for you to consider. If we have a look at the phrase starting here, in the bass and in the harmony, we get a sense of very sort of painfully and gradually climbing up. And then at the climax, the very next phrase, as the melody rises up from that note, the bass has this incredible downward sweeping gesture. Isn't that amazing? Just releasing all that pent-up tension from before. So and then in the last phrase, just to cap all that brilliance, we get really, really expressive writing, and it all stems from the way the tenor part here relates to the soprano part. So I'll play just those two voices. Notice how they keep clashing against each other to produce this really tense, discordant sound that has to be resolved. And in the context of the whole four-voice texture, it sounds like this. Every single chord in that penultimate bar, those all have an amazingly sort of jarring feeling to them that has to push you on until finally you're released in that last cadence. So that sort of harmonic richness and the freedom and expressive shaping of the bass part and the inner parts is, I think, one of the keys to what makes Bach's music so effective and so powerful. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I will return you to Mathis.
Hey, there I am. So I hope you enjoyed that mini lecture. It's so beautiful what indeed Bach does with the music, and there's so many similarities to me between what Bach is doing to someone like Bud Powell or someone like Duke Ellington. It's inheriting something from the past and adding your own spirit into it. And indeed, what Bach has been able to do has been magnificent. And we're just over the halfway point of this program, and I just want to thank you all for watching. I was able to check out the people on YouTube and on Facebook, and I thank you so much for watching. If you want to give a little donation so we can help to pay for the musicians, because everyone needs to get paid, you can do so on here. Well, looks like I'm not there yet, but you'll know when it's time. We're still talking about chorales. Hey. Anyway, we're talking about chorales. We're talking about church cantatas. And I would like to talk about a group that spent a lot of time incorporating the classical realm and the classical world into the jazz idiom. And this is the Modern Jazz Quartet. Percy Heath, Connie Kay, Milt Jackson, and John Lewis. I love this band. I love what they've brought to the world of music in general. And I'd like to focus particularly on Mr. John Lewis, born on the 3rd of May, 1920, Taurus, right? So he is interesting because he comes from LaGrange, Illinois, studied music, eventually came over to New York, went to Manhattan School of Music, and was introduced to Dizzy Gillespie and his band, wrote a composition to audition, got in, and his song is Two Bass Hit, which is a very popular song indeed. Hey. And as things and time went on, the rhythm section from Dizzy Gillespie's band sort of went in their own way and created the Modern Jazz Quartet. And although they don't say that there's a particular leader and everyone was joining in the creative process of this band, it's a known fact that John Lewis was arranging and picking a lot of the material. Now, they'd done an album, which just the fact that he's a Taurus, it's just nice to kind of understand what these people were like. He put the music together, taught the music by ear, did a lot of his compositions this way. I also want to give a quick shout out to other people in this time that were also dealing with this concept of taking styles from Bach and Mozart and putting them in a rhythm section. People like Oliver Nelson and Hank Jones have done this kind of work. So there's an album called Blues on Bach, and there's a particular track from this called Rise Up in the Morning. And I was just looking, and it comes from a church cantata that Bach wrote called From Sleeper's Wake, BWV 140. Okay. I'm gonna say it one more time. It's Gurmi's birthday, so we wishing her a happy birthday. I'm gonna play this particular beautiful piece of music in the style that MJQ did it, and I want to thank you all for tuning in, and hope you enjoyed a little bit of music. As I was saying before, if you want to make a donation, you can do it at the following right here. Support your musical, local, international streaming musicians and pay for all the guests. That's enough of that.
Wonderful. Didn't that make you tingle all over?
And that's Hazel Scott, everyone. Please give it up for her. There's a reason why I'm sharing her, because she's incredible. She's from Trinidad and Tobago and is a child prodigy. Might we also know she's born in June 11th, and she's a Gemini. And that's important because she is a show lady. She had her own TV show. She was also acting in movies and films and playing ridiculous piano, as you see. She has an interesting relationship with the music of Bach. I'm sure y'all know John Hammond, who is an impresario in the 40s and 30s of jazz music. And he, in conjunction with this club called Cafe Society, would set up this concert at Carnegie Hall called, if I remember correctly, I might be paraphrasing this, but it's Bach and Boogie. All right, boogie, which in itself is not a great word. I don't particularly like it. But anyway, people like Art Tatum would be on there, and people like Hazel Scott would be on there, doing their own interpretations of Bach and swinging them. Swinging them meaning putting the rhythm that would be different from, right? It'd be. Now, if you check it out, because there's only so many hours in the day, Ramsey Lewis has his own version of that song, and it's called Bach Blues, and it's kind of funny. This is the arrangement. It's called Bach Blues. Into blues. It's nice. Anyway, I would like to play something that she's recorded, and it's going to relate to what's going to happen after. She did her own version of the Inventions. Now, the Inventions are a set of composition by Bach where there are two voices playing together. It's fugal in the sense that they're playing around with melodies and they're playing off of each other, but it's not as complex. As a matter of fact, they're pretty simple, and they're not really considered to be played for audiences. It's more as an exercise to improve yourself, right? The reason why they were also written is because Bach and his many, 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 many children, who were all piano players, almost, by the way, which I think it's hilarious to imagine a family and keyboards everywhere. We don't have to imagine too hard to have keyboards everywhere, but we can kind of laugh at just a whole family of keyboard players, and the kids wake up and they all practice piano. But anyway, that is Bach's life, and he would write these little inventions for his kids. Now, there's also 3-part inventions, which is called symphonias, but we're not going to get to that today. So let's hear none other than Miss Hazel Scott's version of 2-part invention in A minor. And here we go. Okay, now, taking inspiration from inspiration, let's see if we can do the same thing. And even though it's called a game show, there is no winner on this. This is just for the fun of exploration. And I've called some incredible artists and friends of mine to join me on this venture. I called them up and I said, listen, man, I'm doing a little show, History of the Piano show on Bach. And I think it would be fun, first of all, because I miss playing music with people, if we took one hand each. You take the right hand, I'll take the left hand, and let's play through one of the inventions all the way through as written, and then the second time through, do your own thing like Hazel Scott did, just like Bach would do to these Lutheran melodies. Put your own thing, and let's see what it sounds like. So I will invite, in a cyber way, our first guest, the incredible Joel Wenhardt. I first met him at Julius, and he's an incredible piano player. We've spent many times listening to music together. We play in a band together. Shout out to the Shakes. He's also a great writer and a lyricist, and it's not before long that you'll be hearing his songs, whether it might be on a Broadway show or on TV. You gotta look out for his name. Anyway, he chose invention in F major. So this is us playing that first one time as written, second times with our own isms. So adding what we enjoy about music. And that's what music is all about, adding your ornaments, adding yourself in the corners that you identify. And you learn a lot. You really learn a lot from people of what they choose to add. And I hope you enjoy this. It's really great. Thank you. They really, it always catches me by surprise. Anyway, that's Joel Wenhardt, everyone. Thank you, Joel, for sending me this. All right, let's move on. So this next piano player is a wonderful person. His name is Whitfield, and I first met him on the scene, actually, in New York City. And I remember hearing him at a club called Smalls, and I was just, we become good friends ever since. And he's sent me the most awesome version of this song. I mean, this invention. He picked number, I don't know which number it is, but it's an E major, and it was really tough to put this together. But anyway, he has an album coming out this summer called Into the Fourth Dimension. And I truly believe that that's exactly what's going to happen with the music. We'll be going into the fourth dimension. He's a really great jazz musician, and beyond that, you know, he killed this. And thank you, Davis, for sending me this through. So first I'm going to play you the version as written, and then we'll move on and see what it sounds like with our own ism. So really pay attention to what it sounds like as written, and then see if you can hear personality and own choices coming into the music. I hope you enjoy this. Thank you, Davis, again, man. Thank you. Whitfield's work. Go check him out when he releases his album. Go check out Joel Wenhardt and everything he's up to. These people are incredible. And now I have my last guest of the show, and we're wrapping up everything now. And I wanted to share this one for last because it's kind of special because we're gonna do this particular fun exercise, but on synths. Speaking of which, yesterday was Bob Moog's birthday, so happy birthday, Bob Moog. For this one, I want to invite the great Julius Rodriguez, who I also met in New York, also at Juilliard, but we we all hang out beyond Juilliard. He works with an amazing amount of artists. It doesn't really matter what genre, whether it's in the jazz, the hip hop, or the pop world, or classical, or Broadway. He can really play all types of instruments. And so I called him and I said, let's do this on our synths. So we picked number 1 in C. So I hope you enjoy number 1 in C. By the way, he has an album that's coming out real soon, and he shared some stuff online of what he's capable of. It's really, really dope. So I hope you enjoy number C on synths. This is As Written. And now for the last one, enjoy. Wait, not yet. Out. Here we go. Yes. All right. I believe there might have been a little issue with the sound before. What I was saying is that Julius Rodriguez is an incredible artist. He's going to release some music soon. So please, all these people, Julius Rodriguez, Davis Whitfield, Luke Jones, Joel Wenhardt, even Dr. Sam King, follow them, check out their projects, support them, buy their music. Davis has got an album coming out, and Joel is writing incredible stuff. I'm so thankful that they could have joined me for this special program for Bach and Beyond. I know that people have been watching this whole show. It's been an hour and 40 minutes, so I'm so thankful that y'all have stayed here. And thank you to Lizzie. Shout out to Gurmy for the birthday. Shout out to my parents. Next week is going to be a beautiful week. I'm going to do a set with this thing, my first ever hour, 60-minute set with the Estuary, and I'm releasing my first music video on the same day. This is all happening on my birthday. Anyway, on Saturday, the 30th of May. Thank you for watching, and thank you for bringing Sexy back. Not me, but all you guys for just watching it. And I'm going to finish off by playing a composition by Bud Powell, who is a Libra, and Libras are very much in they're very intellectual people, and you can hear that in his music. His music is definitely inspired by that of Bach, and I hope you enjoy this composition called Sure Thing. Thank you all for watching.